they let Lil Jeff see a chain. Lil Jeff tried to tell them that the chain was stolen, but he had it all along.
Lil Jeff lived up to every bit of the gangster reputation he built for himself. A bloodhound superstar through and through, he rapped about the streets with no filter. To some, he was fearless, bold enough to kill and boast about it. To others, he was untouchable, almost immortal. But was he really? Now, a shocking new video is making waves across the internet, stirring up a frenzy of speculation. Could Lil Jeff still be alive? The footage, which surfaced more than 6 months after viral clips of his alleged shooting, has left fans questioning everything. Was this part of a grand scheme to keep enemies on edge, even from beyond the grave? Or is there something deeper at play? The latest video has fans convinced that Jeff might be alive, hiding out somewhere in the shadows. The footage comes from a music collaboration between Lil Jeff and Q50, a track titled BH4L. In the visuals, both rappers stand firm in their loyalty to the Bloodhounds, a notorious street gang rooted in Chicago, specifically between 79th Street and Maryland Avenue. Could this be a posthumous release? Or did Lil Jeff find a way to fake his own death and slip under the radar? The internet is buzzing with theories, and nobody knows what to believe. The video kicks off with Lil Jeff and Q50, both draped in all black, standing side by side, exuding pure menace. But things escalate quickly. The scene shifts, and suddenly, Jeff is throwing up gang signs, his energy undeniable. As the music video unfolds, the duo is seen surrounded by their crew, weapons on full display, vibing to the beat like they own the streets. After a brief introduction, Q50 sets the tone, delivering hard-hitting verses before Lil Jeff storms in, spitting bars that leave no room for doubt. He's about that life. His lyrics are straight-up chilling. Me and Jeff like Giannis and Dame. Step back, shoot like Big Flame. 'Cause know I got bodies from state to state in the mill. I'm clapping for the paint. With every beat, every word, Jeff and Q50 keep the momentum high. Their energy electric. The music video doesn't just show them rapping. It's a statement, a pledge to the Bloodhounds as they flex their firepower and loyalty to the crew. And that's not the only Lil Jeff footage stirring up conversation. Another video has been making serious waves online. This time, Jeff is seen in the studio, going all in on his latest track, Through the Ceiling. Fans are left wondering, was this recorded before his alleged death? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? In the latest video, Lil Jeff is full of energy, rapping with pure confidence, surrounded by his crew. His high-speed delivery and lively presence make it hard to believe he's gone. With so many posthumous videos surfacing, fans are starting to question everything. Could he still be alive? Over on Reddit, a wild discussion broke out after one user dropped a thread titled, "This Lil Jeff got the most posthumous videos I ever seen." But it was the subtitle that really set the internet on fire. "A new vid of this dude drops every day. You'd think he's still alive." That was all it took. Fans erupted with theories, trying to make sense of the endless stream of new footage showing up long after his reported death. One fan chimed in with a bold claim, "Just found some app with all his lives." Another kept it blunt. "Boy only did 3 things. Get high, take people out, and post about both on the internet. I guess rap every now and then." A third added, "He was dedicated to rapping for sure. In just 2 quick trips to LA, he made it count." The question remains, was Lil Jeff just stockpiling music and visuals before his death? Or is there something deeper going on? Fans aren't buying the official story, and the internet isn't letting this mystery go. Lil Jeff wasn't just a rapper. He was a machine. The man laid down countless classic verses, proving just how relentless he was in everything he did. His work ethic was undeniable. But now, fans can't help but feel bittersweet about his rise in fame, because it all happened after his death. One fan put it bluntly, His entire success is posthumous. And they're not wrong. Since his passing, Lil Jeff's name has skyrocketed, and it's showing in the numbers. His music is pulling in massive streams, with his Spotify listeners officially surpassing 500,000 monthly. A major reason? The 2 posthumous albums that dropped after his death. Both BH4L and Through the Ceiling are standout tracks from his second posthumous album, Bloody Brutus, which was released on January 1st, 2025. The album features 15 tracks, packed with collaborations from his Day One crew, including Relvert and Bloodhound Q50. But the real surprise? A track with Bloodhound J Boogie, Lil Jeff's older brother, who just got out of prison. While Bloody Brutus is making waves, it still hasn't matched the impact of Lil Jeff's first posthumous album, Stepping in Blood. But one thing is clear: his music isn't fading away anytime soon. Stepping in Blood wasn't just another drill album, it was a statement. Released on June 26, 2024, the album packed 12 tracks, including fan favorites like Should Have Saw and a remix featuring G Herbo. But here's the real twist. This album did what Lil Jeff could never pull off while he was alive. It shifted the focus away from his violent reputation and put the spotlight on his music. For the first time, people weren't just talking about his street life. They were talking about his talent. The impact was so massive that British YouTuber Trap Laura Ross ranked it among the top 3 greatest drill albums of all time. In an audio clip circulating on Reddit, Ross declared, "Stepping in Blood is one of the greatest Chicago drill albums ever produced." But it wasn't just about the raw, violent energy of the lyrics. Ross emphasized that Lil Jeff's flow, delivery, and the signature Chicago drill beats, which echoed the golden era of the genre, made the album a true time capsule. While Lil Jeff's life was overshadowed by street violence and alleged ties to multiple murders, his posthumous albums have cemented his place in Chicago drill history. His name is no longer just about the streets, it's about the music. Beyond the resurfaced music videos, even more wild footage of Lil Jeff has been making the rounds on social media. Clips showing him in questionable, jaw-dropping moments that have fans and critics alike shaking their heads. One of the most viral clips shows Lil Jeff rolling through the streets in a car when he suddenly flags down a random passerby. He strikes up a quick conversation, then, without warning, flashes a gun and asks, "You ever seen one of these? You think you could run from this? Get your ass back!" Terrified, the man tries to bolt, but just as he's about to take off, Lil Jeff laughs it off, saying he's just messing around. But that's not the only clip causing a stir. Another older video, recently resurfaced on Reddit, captures Jeff gripping a gun, his tone serious as he tells his followers about a mall fight where he almost took out an op, but was stopped by a friend. In the footage, Jeff demands a promise from that same friend, pressing him to swear he wouldn't stop him next time. The friend, clearly shaken, responds, "I won't ever do it again, because I'll never put Jeff in that situation." Jeff nods in approval before grumbling about how he was ready to take out all 4 of his enemies right then and there. But his friend wanted him to scuffle like a mother instead. These resurfaced clips paint a picture of Lil Jeff's dangerous lifestyle, but they also leave fans debating his true nature. Was he just a product of his environment? Or was he always one step away from going too far? Despite the endless speculation and resurfaced footage, there's no real doubt. Lil Jeff was killed in a gunfight last year. If the conspiracy theories weren't enough, his own girlfriend shut them down with a photo from his funeral. The image, posted from her social media account under the name PMoney365, shows her with her hands resting on Lil Jeff's, his signature tattoos clearly visible. It was the kind of proof that should have ended all debate. But the drama surrounding his death didn't stop there. Reports even surfaced about a physical fight breaking out at the funeral between Lil Jeff's girlfriend and his side chick. The situation got so heated that Q50 had to step in to break it up before things spiraled out of control. To add to the emotional whirlwind, Jeff's girl later confirmed his death with a heartbreaking tribute. But it wasn't just words. She posted a never-before-seen video that revealed a softer side of the rapper that many had never witnessed. In the clip, Jeff and his girlfriend are seen choreographing a playful dance routine, completely out of character from his usual tough persona. The video ends with them forming a giant heart sign with their hands, a rare glimpse into a different side of his life. Alongside the video, she wrote a deeply personal caption. But the internet had mixed reactions. Was this a true reflection of who Jeff really was behind the scenes? Or just another layer to his complex, controversial legacy? "You would be so mad that I let the world know you were really a sweetheart." That's what Lil Jeff's girlfriend wrote in her tribute, revealing a side of him no one expected. She described him as her best friend, her ride or die, her whole world. But the internet wasn't ready for what came next. Another video surfaced from the same TikTok account, pmoney365, showing Lil Jeff in a completely different light. In the clip, the same man feared by nearly every rapper in the Chicago drill scene is seen sitting down, reading a storybook to his girl. Fans were stunned. How could the same ruthless street legend, a name that struck fear across Chicago, be caught in such a tender, almost innocent moment? But for the rest of the world, this wasn't the Lil Jeff they knew. To them, he wasn't some soft-hearted boyfriend. He was a monster, a killer, a real demon. Before his rise in Chicago drill rap, Lil Jeff was just another name in the streets. That all changed on January 26, 2024. That afternoon, chaos erupted. Two teenage boys, 16-year-old Robert Lil Rob Boston and 17-year-old Monty Williams, were gunned down just as they walked out of a high school in downtown Chicago. That one incident shifted everything. Lil Jeff was no longer just another name. He was now on everybody's radar. The streets whispered his name. The internet spread the story. And before long, his reputation was cemented in blood. According to police reports, the shooting happened in broad daylight as a group of students walked out of Innovations High School during their lunch break. Out of nowhere, a blue Infiniti pulled up. And that's when chaos erupted. Masked gunmen jumped out of the car, weapons in hand. A group of individuals exited the vehicle and fired multiple shots, striking two teenage students, said CPD Deputy Chief John Hins. The victims, 16-year-old Robert Lil Rob Boston and 17-year-old Monty Williams, were rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in critical condition. But despite desperate efforts to save them, both succumbed to their injuries. The incident spread like wildfire online after shocking footage of the fatal shooting surfaced. The first video captures everything. The blue Infiniti pulls up in front of the Washington Wabash station. Suddenly, three masked men jump out and sprint toward their targets, guns blazing. Shot after shot, the teens are hit without mercy. Once their mission was complete, the gunmen rushed back into the Infiniti and sped off, disappearing into the streets. A second graphic video captured the aftermath. Lil Rob and Monty lay motionless on the pavement, surrounded by stunned classmates. The eerie silence is broken by a gut-wrenching scream. One of the victims, barely clinging to life, lets out a painful, "Ah!" That single sound would soon spark another wave of controversy. Why? Because Lil Jeff later used it in a diss track, mocking the double homicide. The internet erupted in outrage, questioning if Jeff had finally crossed a line too dark to ignore. We'll dive deeper into this twisted controversy soon. But first, let's talk about how Lil Jeff got caught up in the case. Shortly after the deadly shooting, detectives received an anonymous tip that changed everything. The caller named Lil Jeff as one of the shooters, and even pointed police toward an Instagram post that practically served as a confession. Investigators found the now infamous video on Lil Jeff's Instagram stories, posted just 15 minutes after the murder. In the clip, 3 masked gunmen sit inside the getaway car, rapping along to a track that eerily describes exactly what had just happened. Masked men in a stolen car pulling up and firing on their enemies. But here's the moment that shocked everyone. Lil Jeff, sitting in the passenger seat, pulls down his mask, just enough to reveal his face. That was all police needed. Barely a month later, Lil Jeff took things even further. He brazenly claimed the hit on Lil Rob and Monty in his controversial track, Ah, released on February 16th, 2024. In the song, Jeff doesn't hold back. Did what they did and had to pay the consequence. You know that, still hop out blasting when I'm sliding and I be driving just thirsty as damn his lil stupid. The lyrics sent shockwaves through the streets and online. Jeff wasn't just rapping. He was telling a story that lined up perfectly with reports that the shooting was a retaliation hit. Was this a straight-up confession in the form of a song? Or just another drill rapper pushing the boundaries of reality and music? One thing was for sure. This track would go down as one of the most chilling drill songs ever recorded. The motive behind the deadly shooting? It all started with a robbery. Lil Rob and Monty didn't just take from Lil Jeff, they humiliated him. The 2 teens robbed him and got away with 2 of his prized wristwatches, stripping him of his luxury pieces like it was nothing. But they didn't stop there. Instead of keeping quiet, they took their victory to social media, mocking Jeff publicly and making sure the whole city knew what they had done. That was their mistake. To Lil Jeff, this wasn't just a robbery, it was a direct challenge to his name, his rep, his entire existence. And he wasn't about to let it slide. He wanted payback. When the time came, he didn't just retaliate. He made an example out of them. In his track, Ah, Jeff goes all in, ruthlessly mocking the teenager's final moments. When I speak, it's only facts. He was screaming, Ah, when he got hit. Ah, real tough up on the net. Now he on the floor looking like a bee. The sheer coldness of his words shook fans and critics alike. Jeff wasn't just rapping. He was laughing at the screams of his dying enemies. He didn't stop there. Later in the track, he boasts about adding 2 hats, a gruesome reference to taking out 2 people. Once the song hit the streets, it exploded. The video went viral, launching Lil Jeff into the spotlight. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know the story behind the brutal double homicide. Before long, the case caught national attention. Even people who had never listened to drill rap found themselves following the madness. The Chicago Police Department ramped up their manhunt for the suspected killers, determined to take down whoever was responsible for the bloodshed. And at the center of it all? Lil Jeff, rising from the shadows, his name now ringing louder than ever. On the surface, it looked like the police had no solid leads. But behind the scenes, Lil Jeff and his crew were making their job easy. Instead of laying low, Jeff and Q50 kept bragging about the hit, practically inviting law enforcement to take a closer look. Q50, in particular, took the self-snitching to another level when he seemingly detailed the double homicide in one of his songs. In the music video, Q50 appears in all black, surrounded by masked men, flashing weapons, and looking ready for war. At one point, he drops a bar that sent the internet into a frenzy. Blood had called, said he trying to go spin, we can spin downtown, last 2 got lift. The fact that the shooting happened in downtown Chicago and resulted in 2 fatalities was way too similar to be a coincidence. Fans were convinced Q50 was talking about Lil Rob and Monty. Yet, despite the chilling lyrics and the way he made it sound like he was one of the shooters, Q50 was never arrested. Turns out, his words may have been all for clout. The police kept digging, And before long, they made a breakthrough. 2 actual suspects were arrested in connection to the deadly ambush. Suddenly, all that street talk didn't seem so real anymore. Was Q50 just capitalizing on the chaos, or was he more involved than the cops could prove? The breakthrough in the case came earlier this year, when police finally closed in on 2 key suspects. The first arrest happened on January 29, 2025, when Tommy T. Slick Coleman was taken into custody on the 5700 block of North Mason Avenue. His charges? 2 felony counts of first-degree murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm from an occupied vehicle, and possession of a weapon by a felon. Then, just days later, the feds moved in. On February 3, 2025, the Chicago Police Department, along with the U.S. Marshals Great Lakes Regional Task Force, arrested 20-year-old James "Jamo" Allison in Crown Point, Indiana. Jamo got hit with the exact same charges as T. Slick, and within a week, he was standing before a judge. But here's the wildest twist. Jamo wasn't just some random street dude caught up in the mess. He was actually Lil Rob and Monty's classmate at Innovations High School. Sources revealed that Jamo played a critical role in the setup. He fed the killers information, helping them track Lil Rob and Monty before they were ambushed. And while Lil Jeff was already dead, meaning he could never face justice, the investigation still pointed to him as the mastermind behind the deadly attack. In the end, Lil Rob and Monty's deaths weren't random. They were a calculated hit, orchestrated from the shadows. And once the truth came out, there was no denying who had been pulling the strings all along. Lil Jeff wasn't just claiming bodies. He was boasting about them. Before his death, Jeff repeatedly stated he had taken out 11 people, though the full list of names was never officially confirmed. But among the most notorious murders linked to him was the brutal execution of 19-year-old Jalal Al-Ghoz. It happened in June 2023. Al was sitting inside a rideshare car in Little Italy when his life was cut short in a hail of gunfire. But here's what made his death even more heartbreaking. Al wasn't just another street name. His family was deeply involved in anti-violence efforts, working with the outreach organization Project HOOD. His murder shocked the community. A young man connected to a mission of peace, gunned down in cold blood. Speaking on Al's tragic death, Pastor Corey Brooks, founder of Project HOOD, released a powerful statement. He tragically fell victim to a senseless act of gun violence, a harsh reality we've pledged to combat. We will honor the memory of our colleague's son by intensifying our efforts to prevent such tragedies in the future. The fatal shooting went down in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street. Al sat in the back of the rideshare vehicle when a gunman approached the car and fired multiple rounds through the window. The terrified driver wasted no time. He sped away from the scene, racing toward safety, trying to save Al's life. But it was too late. By the time they reached Rush University Medical Center, Al was pronounced dead. Another senseless killing, another name added to Lil Jeff's growing reputation. But was he really behind all these murders? Or was he just feeding into the fear and mystique that made him a legend? Lil Jeff didn't just claim the hit, he acted it out. Shortly after Jalal Al-Ghoz was killed, Jeff took to social media and dropped a shocking video where he reenacted the murder. In the footage, Jeff runs up to a white car parked at a gas station. He moves to the backseat window, the same position Al was in when he was shot, then uses his hands to mimic a gun, firing imaginary shots. It wasn't just a flex, it was a message. And he didn't stop there. In multiple live videos, Jeff boldly claimed the hit, all but confessing to the murder. He also hinted that Al's death wasn't random, it was payback. According to Jeff, the killing was retaliation for the murder of his cousin, Z-Money, who had been gunned down by members of Trap City. what followed was a blood-soaked cycle of revenge. The kill-for-kill mentality ignited a full-scale war between two of Chicago's most dangerous street gangs, Drill City and Trap City. And in the end, that very war would claim Lil Jeff's life. Jeff's death wasn't just another drill rapper gone too soon. It was an offshoot of a street war that had turned Chicago into a battlefield. For the past half a decade, these rival crews had waged an all-out war, where street executions and drive-by shootings weren't just acts of violence. They were statements. And when Lil Jeff was finally taken out, it wasn't just a loss for his crew. It was another chapter in a war that showed no signs of stopping. Drill City, also known as the Bloodhounds, wasn't just another street gang. It was a powerhouse. This hybrid gang, based on the east side of Chicago, controlled territory stretching from 79th Street to Maryland Avenue. But their reach extended far beyond that, with beef spreading all over the city, even deep into the South Side. Over the years, they had clashed with plenty of rival crews, but their most explosive and violent war was against two factions. Trap City, a gangster disciples set from Woodlawn. BKN, a West Side gang. For now, let's focus on Drill City's deadly feud with Trap City, because before they became sworn enemies, these two gangs were actually allies. In fact, before the bloodshed, members of Drill City and Trap City moved as one, even kicking it together in public. A recently resurfaced photo on Reddit tells the story, showing Bloodhound Lil Jeff, Bloodhound Q50, and Trap City Taro posted up together, looking like brothers. But everything changed when Lil Jeff rose to power within the Bloodhounds. His influence grew, and so did the tension. Old alliances cracked, friendships turned to rivalries, and by 2023, the relationship between Drill City and Trap City was beyond repair. The final breaking point: a stolen chain. According to Street Talk, Lil Jeff allegedly snatched a chain off a Trap City member's neck, an act of disrespect that set off a war that would define the streets of Chicago. In a 2024 interview, Trap City Rob finally spoke on how it all went down. And let's just say, the truth behind this beef runs deeper than anyone imagined. The man who allegedly killed Lil Jeff didn't just confirm the rumors, he laid it all out. In a 2024 interview, Trap City Rob and Trap City Taro revealed that everything spiraled out of control because of one reckless move by Jeff. He stole the chain, bro. We tried, he took it. He stole my homie's chain. That one act of disrespect ignited a war that would leave bodies dropping at an alarming rate. On March 16, 2023, Trap City struck first, allegedly orchestrating the murder of 22-year-old Z-Money Nelson, Lil Jeff's cousin. Z-Money wasn't just family. He was deep in the Bloodhounds, connected to several high-ranking members. His brutal execution sent Jeff over the edge, launching him into a ruthless rampage that would leave double-digit bodies in just 1 year. The bloodshed started immediately. Just 3 months after his cousin was killed, Lil Jeff retaliated. His first target? Jalal Al-Ghoz, a Trap City member, gunned down in June 2023 while sitting inside a rideshare car. But that was just the beginning. That same year, Lil Jeff and Q50 allegedly hunted down another Trap City member, Glenn, and lit him up with 15 shots. But somehow, Glenn survived. That wasn't enough for Jeff. He wanted Glenn gone. Nearly a year later, Jeff made another attempt. But this time, it all went horribly wrong. Instead of getting his target, Jeff ended up on the receiving end of the bullets. He was shot multiple times. And just like that, the hunter became the hunted. June 8, 2024, Lil Jeff's final mission turned into a deadly ambush. It all went down in broad daylight, and surveillance cameras captured every chilling second. In the viral footage, Jeff hops out of a car, gun in hand, and sprints after a man. believed to be Trap City Glenn, the same rival he had failed to kill a year earlier. As Jeff closes in, he opens fire, sending multiple shots at his target. The exact number of times Glenn was hit remains unclear, but police scanner records confirm that he took at least one bullet to the chest. But here's where it all took a shocking turn. Despite being shot, Glenn doesn't go down. Instead, he takes off running, darting into a nearby building, Lil Jeff chasing right behind him, gun raised. Then, out of nowhere, an ambush. Just as Jeff reaches the building's front door, a barrage of bullets erupts from inside. Jeff is hit, hard. The force sends him crashing backward down the steps, landing on the porch. Before he can even process what's happening, his enemy is standing over him. More shots ring out, this time at point-blank range. Another angle of the footage reveals pure chaos. Lil Jeff's crew panics. His homies start firing wildly in his direction, desperately trying to save their fallen leader. At some point, one of the gunmen, later identified as, the streets of Chicago had seen bloodshed before, but nothing like this. As the gun battle raged on, Q50 jumped into action. In the footage, he can be seen firing at a passing vehicle, trying to hold down the scene as bullets flew in every direction. But things were getting too hot. With gunfire intensifying, Q50 and another man made a split-second decision. They had to fall back. They ran toward their getaway car, dodging bullets. Q50, however, was moving differently. He had a limp. Had he been hit in the leg during the firefight? It sure looked like it. Once inside, they sped off, circling the area one last time to make sure it was safe. Then, in a desperate attempt to save their leader, they returned to grab Lil Jeff. A photo surfaced on social media, showing Q50 and the other man carrying Jeff's body off the front porch, struggling to load him into the vehicle. But deep down, they knew the truth. There was no saving him. Jeff had been hit 19 times, all at close range. By the time they got him to the hospital, doctors could only confirm what was already clear. Lil Jeff was pronounced dead. The brutality of the attack sent shockwaves through the community. Fans, critics, and even those who had glorified drill culture were forced to confront the harsh reality. Had the glorification of violence gone too far? The scene left behind was absolute carnage. Police later discovered over 50 shell casings littered across the street, a devastating reminder of just how much destruction had unfolded in mere moments. Lil Jeff's reign had ended the same way he had lived, by the gun. Just days after Lil Jeff was gunned down, the internet exploded with theories about who pulled the trigger. All eyes turned to one name, Robert Trap City Rob Coleman. The rumors took on a life of their own when an old video surfaced online, showing Rob casually sitting on the porch of the very house where Lil Jeff was killed. That clip alone sent social media into a frenzy. Then, Rob himself added even more fuel to the fire when he admitted in an interview that the house belonged to his grandmother and that he had been living there for some time. Was it really just a coincidence? Before long, the internet had already decided. Trap City Rob was labeled Defensive Player of the Year, a twisted way of saying he had stood his ground and handled business when Jeff came for him. But did Rob actually confirm the hit? Not exactly. During a July 2024 interview, when asked if he had anything to say about the murder and the accusations tying him to Jeff's death, Rob didn't deny it outright. Instead, he dropped a cryptic response. "I seen the video. I seen that SRT. I was like, so out there, you know? He was crazy, bro." That one statement had people connecting the dots. Was he just acknowledging the chaos? Or was he admitting that he was there when it all went down? One thing was certain. He never denied being involved. And to make things even more complicated, his choice of words made it sound like he was simply defending his home after 6 ops pulled up on him. Did Lil Jeff walk into a setup? Or did he just underestimate the opposition? Either way, Rob's reaction only deepened the mystery. Trap City wasted no time rubbing salt in the wound. Just days after Lil Jeff was killed, a video surfaced showing several Trap City members gathered at the exact spot where Jeff took his last breath. But this wasn't just any gathering. They were recreating his murder. In the clip, a man mimics Jeff's movements, chasing after an op, just like Jeff did in the viral footage. Right as he reaches the front door, he suddenly drops to the ground, acting out the moment Jeff was shot down. And then, loud cheers erupt from the crowd. It was pure mockery, a public celebration of their biggest rival's death. But the drama was far from over. As Trap City members continued celebrating, Lil Jeff's father made it clear, this war wasn't over. Taking to Facebook, Jeffrey Harris sent out a chilling warning. And to let it be known, y'all didn't get him. He came trying to get y'all. And what happened, happened. But the saga continues. Clear the streets. And just like that, the cycle of violence kept turning. Since that threat, more bodies have dropped on both sides. Yet, despite all the bloodshed, no one has been arrested for Lil Jeff's murder. Trap City Rob was initially charged late last year, but the case fell apart due to a lack of solid evidence. And now, the war is still raging. Chicago remains on edge. And if history has shown anything, this saga isn't ending anytime soon.